Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be teaching you how to save data locally in FlutterFlow. We'll be creating a note-taking app and saving the data locally in the phone, and it will require no internet connection. This video is actually a part of my FlutterFlow course. If you want to learn more, you can check out the link in the description and start learning from scratch. Our Notes app. First we will be building our user interface of our Notes app. We will require two screens for our Notes app, so let's create a new screen and name it add notes. So now we have two screens over here. This will be our main screen and this will be our screen to add new notes to our application. So let's add an app bar to our main screen and add a title. Main screen. So the title will be notes app and we'll be coloring it as white. Okay, so we don't need the default button, so we remove the default button from over here. On the other screen, we'll be adding the default button which will be used to navigate back to our home page, and the text will be add new note. Okay, so these are our two screens over here. So in the main screen, we'll add a floating action button to navigate to our add note screen, and we'll be writing our note over here and we'll be saving it, and the note will appear over here. Okay, so for that let's add a floating action button. Okay, so now we have added a floating action button. We'll also be adding an icon for a floating action button, and the icon will be a plus sign and the color of the icon will be white. So let's take a look at the theme of our application. So as you can see, there is a option to explore themes. We can set the primary color and secondary color of our app to a different color. For example, if I select this color, as you can see that the app color has been changed to this this yellowish color. Now we'll be changing it to a black color for our application. Okay, so as you can see that the color of the app bar and the floating action button is now black, and it will make the changes in all the screens of our application. So let's click on save changes. Now what we need to do, you need to when we click on floating action button, we need to navigate to our second screen. For that we'll add an action over here, and the action will be navigate to add note screen. So whenever the floating action button will be clicked, it will navigate to our add note screen. So in this add new note screen, we'll be adding a text field to create a new note. So let's add a text field over here. So as we already know, to decorate a text field, we'll be wrapping it inside a container, and we'll be giving it a height of width of 90%, and we'll be wrapping the column inside a row, and the row will be main axis alignment center. Okay, so now we will decorate the container. We'll set the border radius to 20. As you can see that the border radius is 20 now. Other than that, we'll be also adding padding at the top of the text field. So as you can see that we have added padding at the top of the text field. Other than that, we'll remove the height of the container, and here is the another option. We have to set the max line of our text field. We'll set the max line to 5. As you can see that the text field size has been increased, so 5 lines can be added at a single time. So we'll be setting it to 10. Okay, so it looks good now. As you can see, I'll be also adding a leading icon to a text field. Let's have a look at an icon. So we'll be setting this as our icon, and we'll color the icon as black, and we'll also be adding a hint text for our text field, enter note here. Okay, so here we'll be adding the notes over the application. Let's add a padding over here. We'll add a padding of 20, and we'll remove the padding from the text field. We actually needed to add the padding for the container. So here we'll be adding the new notes, and we'll add another button over here to save the new note. So for that we'll be adding a new button. We'll set the padding of the button to 20, and we'll be decorating the button by setting the border radius to 20. Okay, so as you can see that the circular button. Okay, so now that we have built the user interface for our app, we need to add some local storage to save our notes. For that we'll be clicking on local state, and we'll add a new static variable, and the variable name will be notes, and the notes will be a list of strings, and we'll set the persisted property to true, which means that the data will be saved locally in the storage of our mobile phone. So when the website or app is refreshed, the data will be saved in our application, and it will retrieve the data into the app. Okay, so now that I have added a new local state over here, I'll add a list view over here. So list view is basically used to display a list of content. So let's deploy a list over here. So as you can see that I've applied a list view over here. So in the list view I will add a container, and inside the container I'll be adding some text. Okay, so as you can see that I have added a container with some text. Inside the container we will set some properties of the container. So for that, select container from over here and set the height of the container to empty. So as you can see that now the container is taking the space of the text inside. So now we need to set some padding to left side and right side. So I've set it the padding of 10 to the left and the right side of the container. Also add some padding at the top and bottom as well. So now what do we need to do next? So we'll have to add some padding to the text as well. So let's add some padding over here. I'll add the padding of 20. Okay, so as you can see that it looks much better. We'll add some border radius to our container. Set the border radius to 20. As you can see that the container is circled now. Okay, so now how can we get the data from the local storage to our Notes app? So for that, click on list view, and there will be an option for generate dynamic children. Click on that option and write the variable name. I'll write it as notes, and set the variable from local state and notes. After that, we'll set the option to map list items. So when we click on map list items, it will get all the items inside the list and show it inside our app. Now click on confirm, and as soon as we click on confirm, it will regenerate children's inside the list. Okay, so click on the text now and set the value from the variable, and select notes item from over here. Now it will show the item inside in the list of notes. So now what do we need to do next? Now we need to add some notes inside our app. So for that, we'll set some properties in the button. So we'll rename the name of button and set it as add note. So whenever the button is being clicked, We'll set that update local state, and we'll add the field the nodes list and set as add to list. And what do we want to add inside the list? We want to add the data which we have written inside the text field. So we'll select it from variable, and the variable will be widget state and enter note here. So all the text which we have written over here will be added inside the list. Okay, so as we are done from over here, so what else we can add over here? We need to add another thing. First wrap this text inside a row, and now we need to add an icon button to delete the notes item. So click on row and select as space between, and click on icon button and select the icon type to delete. So as you can see that it appears over here. Set the icon size to 20. So when the icon button is being clicked, we need to add an action to remove this specific item inside the list. We'll add an action over here. We'll update the local state. What do we need to do? We need to remove from list a specific value or from variable. We need to remove a value from variable, and which is the notes item. So it will remove the notes item from the list whenever this icon button is being clicked. So let's remove this section from over here and use it inside on long press. So whenever the button is being long pressed, the item will be removed. Okay, so let's try our application now. Okay, so now the app is running here. So first of all, we need to turn off the dark theme from over here, and now we need to refresh, save the project, and instant reload the application. We'll set up the dark theme in the future. Okay, so as you can see our notes app now, we need to add a new note over here now. So click on add note and write a new note over here. One thing that we have been missing is that we need to navigate back whenever we add a note. So click on action flow editor and add a new action and set it to navigate back. So when the note button, when a new note has been added, it will navigate back to the home screen. So save it and instant reload the application again. Okay, so now that our application is fully ready, let's add a new note. For example, I am adding this note over here. As you can see that the note is appearing over here, but there will be an issue over here. The issue will be that when the text will exceed this place, it will overflow, as you can see over here. This is one of the most common issue in FlutterFlow, and to fix this issue, we need to go to home page, select the text and wrap it inside a container. And what do we need to do? We need to remove the height, we need to remove the color of the container, and after that we need to set the width of the container to 70% so it doesn't exceed this place over here. Or okay, so now that we have added the width over here, now click on control save and instantly reload the application. So let's add a new note over here. So as soon as we add a new note, you can see that now the text does not exceed the specific area and stacks below into a new line, so it works completely fine. Let's add another note over here. So we are adding another note. As soon as we click on add note, you can see the note over here. So we have 3 notes now. So let's try to delete a note. To delete a note, we need to press and hold the delete button. So as you can see, if you hold the delete button, the note will be removed from the application. So as we have made this persisted, if we click on refresh or instant reload, so you will be seeing that the text or the notes will not remove from the list because the data is persisted and saved. Okay, so now let's add another thing over here. We need to add a counter for notes over here. So for that, let's add a text over here and wrap the text inside a container. And other than that, we'll set the text inside a row and align it in the center. As you can see that the hello world is in the center now, and we'll set the value from the local state and the number of items, and we'll click on confirm. Other than that, we'll also remove the width and the height of the container, so it will take the height and width inside the text. Okay, so other than that, we'll add some padding on the left side and the right side, and we'll also add at the top and the bottom. Okay, so now that we have added these properties, we'll also select some border radius for our counter. We set the border radius to 20. As you can see that it shows now the border radius. Okay, so let's save it and try to instant reload our application to see the changes. Okay, so as soon as it get loads, you can see the counter over here, and it basically shows number 2, but because there is a debug banner over here, you cannot easily see that. Let's add another node and you will see that the value is 3 now, and we can add new values and it will show 4 now, and it will increase time by time. And as soon as we remove an item from the list, it will remove a number from over here. So this is our notes app. We have used local storage to create our notes app. In the future video, we'll be using Firebase to connect this application with the Firestore and internet, and we'll add some more new features inside our notes app in the future videos. Okay, so thank you. Goodbye.